Someone has been watching Sam, and the moment that tiny tracking device turns up in his school bag, Weatherfield suddenly feels far more dangerous than anyone expected. For Nick and Toyah, this is not just another worry that can be brushed aside with a quiet word and a bit of patience. This is Sam, a young lad who has already carried more fear and confusion than he ever should have had to. And when they begin sharing their concerns with Roy, it is clear they are not simply overthinking things. Something about Sam's behavior has unsettled them enough to ask for help from the one person who might be able to reach him without pushing him too hard. Roy, in his usual gentle way, offers something simple. He will call by for a game of chess. And that matters, because with Roy, a chessboard is never just a chessboard. It is calm, it is structure, it is a safe little world where every move has meaning, every piece has a place, and silence does not feel awkward. For Sam, that kind of quiet companionship could be exactly what he needs. But when Roy arrives, the situation is already far more troubling than anyone imagined. He finds Sam agitated, distressed, and clearly shaken. This is not just a bad mood. This is not teenage frustration. Sam has found something in his school bag, something that should never have been there. A tracking device. And in that moment, the concern Nick and Toyah had been carrying turns into something far darker. Because this is not a misunderstanding, this is not a misplaced gadget. A tracking device in a school bag means somebody wanted to know where Sam was. Somebody wanted to follow him without his knowledge. And the question hanging over everything is chillingly simple. Who is tracking Sam? That one discovery changes the whole emotional weight of the story. Sam is not just upset, he is frightened, confused, and possibly feeling violated in a way that is hard to put into words. A school bag is personal. It goes with him through his day. It should be ordinary, familiar, safe. So to find something hidden inside it cuts deep, because it suggests that someone has crossed a boundary around a child who should be protected, not monitored. For Nick and Toyah, this could be the moment where worry turns into panic. They wanted Roy to help steady Sam, to maybe bring him back from whatever emotional place he had slipped into. But now Roy is standing in front of a young boy who has every reason to feel unsafe. And because Roy is Roy, his reaction matters. He is not someone who rushes into loud accusations. He listens, he observes. He understands that Sam needs calm before answers. But calm may be very hard to find now. The most unsettling part is the silence around the device. It does not come with a neat explanation. It does not tell them who put it there. It does not tell them how long it has been in Sam's bag. It does not explain whether Sam was being watched for hours, days, or longer. And that uncertainty is what makes it so frightening. Because once someone has planted a tracker, the fear is no longer only about what has happened. It becomes about what might happen next. Across the street, Weatherfield is already carrying another kind of pressure. In the Rovers, the atmosphere is tense as Ben reaches breaking point after what has clearly been a brutal week. There is only so much one person can take before the cracks begin to show, and Ben's meltdown adds another emotional storm to a community already weighed down by fear, suspicion, and unanswered questions. The Rovers is usually the place where people gather, gossip, argue, and try to make sense of their lives over a drink. But when someone loses control in a place like that, everyone feels it. Ben's distress does not sit quietly in the corner. It spills into the room. It makes people look up. It reminds everyone that behind all the shouting and secrets, there are people genuinely struggling to hold themselves together. And that sense of people being pushed too far runs straight into another storyline on the street, where the search for Theo's killer has hit another frustrating wall. Lisa tells Kit that they could not retrieve the deleted CCTV footage from Gary's computer. After all that effort, After the hope that maybe the footage would give them something solid, they are back to square one. No breakthrough, no recovered evidence, no clean path forward. For Kit, that failure does not soften his focus. If anything, it appears to make him more determined, and when he faces Gary on the street, he makes his position very clear. Gary is still his #1 suspect. That kind of accusation does not just vanish into the air, it lands, it lingers. And for Gary, being singled out like that in the middle of the street carries its own kind of danger. Even without fresh CCTV evidence, Kit's suspicion remains firmly pointed at him. And in Weatherfield, suspicion can be almost as damaging as proof. Once people start looking at you a certain way, it becomes harder and harder to escape the shadow. The failure to recover the footage also raises the stakes emotionally, because Theo's killer is still out there, and with every dead end, the frustration grows. Lisa and Kit may be back to square one, but the grief and pressure surrounding Theo's death have not reset. They are still there, pressing down on everyone involved. Meanwhile, outside the cabin, another tension plays out on a smaller but still very human scale. Cassie is looking after Bertie and Doreen, and when the children want sweets, she puts her foot down. No sweets. That should be the end of it. But then Jody makes a sharp little dig, suggesting Cassie is too old to be looking after young children. It is the kind of comment that might sound casual to some, but it clearly hits Cassie where it hurts. Cassie does not take it lightly. She marches off, stung and irritated, and in that moment, the situation shifts. Because while Cassie is distracted, Jody slips a bag of sweets to Bertie and Doreen anyway. It may be a lighter moment compared to tracking devices and murder suspicion, but it still says something about the mood on the street. Boundaries are being tested everywhere. Cassie tries to set a rule, and Jody undermines it. Kit tries to push forward in an investigation, but the evidence slips away. Nick and Toyah try to protect Sam, and then Roy finds something that proves the danger may be closer than they feared. That is what makes this episode feel so tense. Everyone is trying to hold a line, but every line is being crossed. For Sam, that crossing is the most frightening of all, because he is not dealing with a rude comment or a failed lead. He is holding proof that someone may have been tracking his movements. And once Roy sees how distressed he is, the emotional heart of the story becomes impossible to ignore. This is a child standing in the middle of a mystery he never asked to be part of. And now Nick, Toyah, and Roy have to face the question that could change everything. If that tracker was hidden in Sam's school bag, who put it there? And what were they planning to do once they knew exactly where he was?